So I thought I should run a quick video this morning, a little extra video, because the stock is going crazy and nobody really anticipated this giant run up this morning. Let me just take a quick look here and see where we are as I'm beginning to record this, just so we have this in mind. We're at 1380. It has been higher than that even, but it's pretty close to the high of the day. But what you're watching right now, of course, is a quick little video that Elon put up earlier today, where you can see that the bot, the Optimus bot, is walking very naturally, and his actions are much more natural than what you've seen before. I reported on this morning, but I thought I'd show you the video. This could be a little bit of the reason. Maybe it's worth a point or two this morning as Tesla screams higher. Obviously, probably the big deal this morning is the fact that there's rumors now coming from various different places that the president has talked to the various cabinet members and said that Elon's time as a special employee is coming to a close within the next few weeks. Now, this is actually potentially news. His time would have ended around May 20th anyway. So we're only weeks away from May 20th, but it's possible that this is actually um, uh, potentially going to be sooner than we thought, because weeks could be 3 weeks. So the market is obviously thinking that's a really good thing. That would be a good thing in terms of just the concept, the idea that he'd be spending more time on the Tesla project. As we get closer and closer to Robotaxi Day in June, that might give people comfort that he's spending more time back there, as well as, of course, the eventual Optimus thing and the Model Q. So all of those things are possible as reasons on the good side, on the Tesla side. But then there's also the optics. The optics, the idea of him stepping down and leaving the position that he has now in D.C. would take him out of the political spotlight somewhat for a while. Might cause a little bit of the tension to drain out of all of the target on his back type stuff that's happening now. Now, I'm not expecting Elon to walk away from politics, and I'm expecting him to still be a very active influence out there. But it would take him down a notch, prove to the world that this was a temporary situation, and take a little the wind out of the blowhards on the left that have been so critical of what he's doing. And we'll see who replaces him kind of as the lead, or maybe it will just be all of the individual players doing their respective jobs, and maybe nobody will really have to be the kind of target other than Trump himself. Well, in addition to all of that, we've got news on the tariff front, and the news on the tariff front seems to be that companies are caving left and right. So we've got the folks in Vietnam who've said they'll go to zero. The implication in that news story seemed to be that the United States was going to do what they said, and that there will be zero tariffs both ways. We've got a CNBC video this morning with the premier of Ottawa, of Ontario, out of Ottawa. We've got the guy Ford, who's been kind of a lead spokesman, really, for Canada through a lot of this. And he's saying that they are willing to go to zero if Trump will promise to go to zero also. But he was waffling really bad in this video with CNBC. CNBC, the individuals who were interviewing him were pressuring him and pushing him to be more specific as to whether he really means that all of the previous tariffs, the tariffs on the butter and milk, et cetera, the dairy products, they had a whole bunch of tariffs that were much higher for the United States products going in as opposed to Canadian products going out. So does he mean he would eliminate all of those tariffs down to zero if Trump is willing to go to zero on all products coming into the United States from Canada? Anyway, but what was absolutely certain is that Canada wants this over. They can do all their bluff and bluster all day long if they want to. But the reality is they need the United States export business more than we need the export business from us to them by a lot. And they are, as we get closer and closer to 1 o'clock California time, 4 o'clock Eastern time today, they're showing that they're going to be, bending the knee as far as they think they can possibly bend it. This is also true for England. We've heard a lot of back and forth with regard to England, and then Trump upping the ante there and saying, "Well, great, we're glad that you've got all these financial considerations, but we also think that you guys need to get on board with free speech." And they're saying, "But of course, we have free speech." But apparently, Trump is going to try to really play his hand out in England with regard to the horrific you can't even begin to call it free speech, what they have right now in England. And I think he's mostly concerned with, things like X and other social media that has a presence there, not censoring those various aspects of what's going on in UK. And then, of course, that separately will have that issue with the Eurozone. So those are all things that are on the table as we go along today. Let's talk about the stock price a little bit. Of course, I said that it would go to 250 if the number was a lot like 355, 350, somewhere in that range. Brian Wong said last night that he thought it might go, that the number might be as low as 350, 355 in terms of the unit sales. That was his low number. All I said was if it did that, the stock would go to 250 or 248. Well, guess what? It did. So I get a little positive for about, I don't know, a minute. It went down to 250, and then it started creeping back up again at 255. And then all of a sudden it was jumping like crazy. But the reality is that the numbers came in, the numbers I reported to you this morning. If you didn't see the video this morning, you really need to go back and watch it. It is still 100% valuable. All kinds of things on that video that would still be useful I'll put the card up here in just a second at the end, but go back and check that out. But what Brian has been saying all along, Brian Wong has been saying all along, is that this would be the day when all the bad news would be in. Well, all the bad news was in, but it was all in at about 7:30 when the stock was down at 250. And then after that, we started having good news, both in the macro and with regard to Tesla. And from there, it's just been straight up. So I talked to Brian just a few minutes ago. We were discussing this, and it's kind of like, no, he doesn't want to take a lap yet with regard to his expectations that the stock would move upward after today, after we got all the bad news out of the way. He doesn't. He and I, none of us have ever expected that it'd be up 14 or 15 points, $15 today. But it is, and it is in the same direction and based on some of the same reasoning as what Brian had been talking about. So let's give him a little applause for that part. Okay, so where are we then as I say goodbye to you again after this little short video? Well, we've taken a little bit of that excitement off the top. We're down to only being up $9 today. I'll take $9 all day, every day. It is definitely trending towards the down, but the rest of the market is still going up. So not sure whether there's been a little news out of Tesla right now for it to be off from its high. But by the way, I mean, it's way, way more than the rest of the market. It's still up 3.65. It was up as much as 5% compared to the NASDAQ at 1%. Some of the Amazon 2.45. NVIDIA only 1%. So it really screamed up higher. So maybe not surprising there would be some profit taking, probably actually not any news. All right, that's all I got for now. Normal stuff today. I've talked to Jeff Lutz already. He will be on later today. The Brian White video is already in the can. So that will be the schedule. About 4:30 for the Jeff Lutz and and exactly 7:45 for Brian White. All right, as always, it's been great talking to you.